Hey everyone, my name is Jake Salvatore, and today I'll be discussing the topic that is near and dear to my heart. I live it every day, and that is accountability and absenteeism. Should schools be held responsible for student attendance? It really made me think differently about how I do my job, um, and I'm interested and looking forward to getting into it with you all. So, why does this matter? All right. So, rising absenteeism rates. It's been an issue. Before the pandemic, there were millions of students that were already chronically absent. And post pandemic, a lot of kids figured school doesn't matter. Families figure school doesn't matter. I didn't need to send my kid for 2 years. Um, why do I have to send them now? So, absenteeism is um, totally out, outrageous right now. It's a threat to student achievement, school funding. That's how schools pay for their kids to be in that school, and educational equity, specifically in schools that are under resourced, low socioeconomic school districts. Um, and it really made me think, should schools be held accountable for student attendance, and they are right now through funding. If they have a certain number of students that are chronically absent, they get slashed their funding. So when I'm going through this, researchers agree on a number of things that attendance definitely matters because it's linked to academic success. Again, it impacts school fundings and school ratings. None of us really want to live in a district where the school is rated very low. And chronic absenteeism is one of the things that go into those school ratings. And I'm presenting something to our teachers later on this month, um, but absenteeism will lead to higher dropout rates, significantly larger learning gaps, and just overall disengagement in school. Once a kid really misses a year, it's like, I'm already so far behind. Why do I need to continue to show up? And it really affects the school climate, the school culture, and the classroom culture, and disrupts the flow of learning. And just to put it bluntly, students can't succeed if they're not in our buildings. There are some, however, disagreements. It's really about accountability of the school versus all the external factors that go into why a kid would be absent. Some people think that accountability will really drive improvement, meaning if schools feel that there's pressure on them, they are going to do something to improve their chronic absenteeism numbers. But other researchers remind us that there are other reasons outside of schools' control that they don't show up. It could be poverty, their health, family challenges, and schools really can't control those things by themselves. So, the main theories and concepts that I've really honed in on this project are chronic absenteeism, and that's really defined as missing 10% or more of school days. So, for example, here in New Jersey, most public schools by law are in school or in session 180 days out of the year. So that means kids who miss 18 or more days throughout the year. School accountability, that's where the school is held accountable for students missing these days. And then educational equity, um, it's about each student, regardless of their socioeconomic status, having the same access to a fair and equal education. So, what works? And this was drawn through research and personal antecedents, early warning systems. In my job, we send out letters to the parents when their students miss 2 days, 4 days, 5 days, 6 days, 9 days, and 10 days. Once you get past that, that is the truancy statute in New Jersey. Once you get past that, we go into a 15-day warning and then finally an 18-day warning where they experience loss of credit. We also do file truancy charges for students who unexcused miss days. Tiered interventions, this is based on, I'm not going to have the same intervention for a kid who's missing 5 days as I do for a kid who's missing 40 days. So we're going to tier those interventions for each individual student. Home visits, I do a lot of these. If a kid happens to be absent, I'll go ahead and knock on their door. And a level of basic trust between the school and the families. So I had some pictures of knocking on a door, and then this cute little drawing I found of communication. So you got phone calls, you got emails, and you got letters. Some of the challenges I have faced is, will schools act? And that's one of the points that a researcher brought up. Will a school act if pressures aren't put on them? And when I thought about that, I don't really know the answer to it. I don't know that I would have a job if funding wasn't tied to our chronic absenteeism numbers. And data pressure works. It does. Like I said, I don't know that I'd have a job if the data pressure wasn't there. But there needs to be some level of balance and some semblance of balance between pressure and support. If school districts aren't provided the support they need to react to that pressure, the whole thing comes crumbling down. What I've learned, these are my final takeaways. Schools must play a role, but not the only role. Like I said, schools can play the role if they're given the tools they need, the support they need from the government to react to that pressure. And furthering that point, addressing chronic absenteeism requires systemic support from everybody, the government, the families, the teachers, the students, and everyone at large here needs to play a role in addressing this. Otherwise, it will never be fixed. And a balanced accountability model, wherein that if the government is not giving the school districts what they need, then the school district should not be held as accountable as districts who have everything they need. And this is a quote by B.B. King. It said, "The beautiful thing about learning is that no one can take it away from you. The difference is students need to be in the building to learn." And then now the pressing question is, now what? I think from the top down, from the federal level all the way down to the state level and finally the district level, there needs to be a policy shift from a punitive punishment system to a system of support. We should support those students who are chronically absent as opposed to punishing them. And same thing with districts with a high level of chronic absenteeism. We should support them rather than punish them. And what you'd like to see in these policy shifts is investments into more guidance counselors, more mental health counselors, more overall investment in mental health for everyone in the community, and community programs to really reach out and offer their support to these students, these school districts who really need the support. And then there needs to be research into the economic, racial, and geographical trends. So if we're noticing that a lot of low-income individuals and families are moving to a certain area, you're going to have to assume that that school district is going to need support in the future. And if you can get ahead of the curve, you can stop the curve from even happening. And once we do all that, we can increase student achievement and outcomes, which is the goal of public education anyhow, to set our students up for success. And I think Malcolm X's quote coming up now really like proves that point. I didn't even know this quote existed. I just found it, but it's excellent. Education is our passport to the future, for tomorrow belongs to the people who prepare for it today. If we prepare today to address this chronic absenteeism like this, the future looks bright. If we keep going along the trends we're going on, the future looks bleak. So I'm going to end it on this. It's a shared responsibility. We need to stop assigning blame and start building bridges. Education is a community effort, and without the community, we don't have an education system. Thank you for watching this video, and I look forward to each and every one of you's feedback, and hopefully together we can make this project excellent.